Okay, now we're recording, right?
Is there a red light? Yes, we are recording now. And if we get over it, that's fine. Looks good, I think, don't you? You want it closer?
No, that'll work. Okay.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. Thank you all for coming today. My name is Sister Ivory Rackham. I'm a service missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I will be presenting on the lost Black history of Rolla, Missouri. These are some of the things I'll be going over. I will be talking about the background of why there was a lot of black settlers, the population, Elkins Church, Lincoln School, and people's stories. So I'm Sister Ivory Rackham. I'm the oldest of 8 kids, and I've lived in Rolla for the last 7 years. I graduated in 2022 at Rolla High School, and after high school I worked full-time before deciding to work for the, After high school I worked for a year before deciding to serve a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The first 9 months of my mission, I served in Arizona, teaching people about Jesus Christ. In April, I transferred to a service mission, and I get to serve like Jesus Christ. I serve in places like here, the Phelps County Genealogical Society, the Rolla Animal Shelter, and the Phelps County Dream Center. And for the last 6 months, I've been working on this Black History project. I finished my mission in November, and I plan to attend BYU Provo and study animation or psychology. Before we get into it, I just wanted to let you guys know that the language used in the past wasn't always the most appropriate and often derogatory towards Black people. It is a reflection of the language used during that time. This does not reflect how I think or I believe, and so when I quote from different sources, I'll be changing words like Negro and colored people to Black people. So how did I get involved in this project? When I transferred to a service mission, I was looking for places to serve. My dad, through Melody Lloyd, introduced me to the Phelps County Historical Society. I got a tour of the courthouse and told Mark and Melody how I wanted to serve here. They briefly mentioned the Black History Project, which sparked my interest immediately. I was not aware that there once was a Black population. And knowing this, I really wanted to learn more. But growing up, I really struggled with history because I thought it was just about learning dates and people's names. But as I've been studying the Black history here, or as I've been researching, I have been able to see people's names and connect it with their stories and their history. And everyone has a story that they want to tell. And now I'm excited to share some of these stories with you guys as well. And I hope to share the same joy I have felt with you guys. So what brought Black settlers to Rolla? And when Rolla was first founded in 1858, a lot of settlers in Rolla came from the South. And so when the American Civil War started, they leaned more Confederate. But in June of 1861, the Union took Rolla. Being drawn to the military's protection, free slaves came to Rolla. They knew they could get shelter, protection, safety, and food from the Union troops. After the war ended, a lot of the free slaves stayed and settled in Rolla. In 1870, the black population was around 20% of Rolla's population. It went up to about 28% in 1880 and plummeted down to 11% in 1900s. It continued to decrease until in 1950 it was about 0.4%. There could be multiple reasons why the population decreased, but one pattern I could see from my research was that a lot of people who settled in Rolla stayed in Rolla. But they either married very old, like older in their lives, or they didn't have any kids. And those who did have kids, their kids would often grow up and move out of Rolla looking for other opportunities. This photo right here, next to the graph, is a 1900 census. This was the research I found, and I've collected all the people's names who either had C, N, or black, because they kept a record of that on the census. And so this is just all the black people of Rolla during the 1900s, all put together on an Excel sheet. Before we get into Elkins Church, I wanted to talk about some notable events in the black community. The first one being Elkins Chapel's church anniversary. In 1935, they celebrated the 70th anniversary. And then after that, every year they would celebrate the church's anniversary until their 84th anniversary, which was the last one recorded. Every anniversary they celebrated, they often had a program that contained a historical sketch of the church's history, along with a list of pastors who have served and helped build up the church. The next event that often happened was the closing exercises of Lincoln School. At the end of every school year, they would have exercises which consisted of songs, essays, recitations, and reading of the Roll of Honor, along with granting certificates. These events were either held at the school, Elkins Church, or the Grant Opera House. And this last one's my favorite, Emancipation Day. Almost every year, on August 4th, they would celebrate Emancipation Day. These celebrations were held at a park, which would vary every year. They would celebrate at different places. But at the park, they would often have a barbecue, baseball games, and a parade. Then the rest of the celebrations would be held at Elkins Church, which often included dancing. This was said by the Rolla Herald in 1946 of why they may have celebrated Emancipation Day, August 4th. This was compiled by the State Historical Society at Columbia. Missouri black people continue to celebrate August 4th, but the reasons for that date remains obscure. Among the explanations was one offered by a black school teacher, since the real Emancipation date fell in January and could not properly be celebrated because of the cold weather conditions. The first year after the war, black people had chosen the West Indies Emancipation date, for August was the ideal month for celebrations. They later changed it to August 4th because of Independence Day. Okay, we have a brief history of Elkins Chapel Church. And I'm going to go through this quickly so we can get through